Hey there, Amy Moonsong again, and as promised, today we're going to be doing a video about the Temperance card. I chose this location today for our video as it felt that it would be really appropriate to do a place that is on the edge between land and water, which is kind of witchy. But I can't help but feel that there is a very witchy quality to the Temperance card, and by that I mean this energy about being able to establish a balance of interacting between the two worlds, the spirit world and the physical world, finding a balance between the elements, you know, whether it's your ego and your emotions, maybe it's your mind and it's your body. Either way, whatever it is, the Temperance card and the energy of Sagittarius that is pervading over that has a lot to do with what we're going to be looking at today as we round the corner for the third cycle of fire, looking at the last fire sign in the zodiac, which is the sign of Sagittarius. So let's get going and let's get flowing. I think for myself personally, what always comes to mind when I see the Temperance card is that this is the sign that comes after Scorpio, after the Death card. And Scorpio, in my opinion, is the most powerful sign of the zodiac because it creates space for the greatest transformation. It really is that balancing point between just the personal ego and the part of you that is able to see this greater identity that you have, this greater level of connection that you're able to have with other people, with life, you know, with energy, with all of it. If you're willing to excavate the truth, if you're willing to see and work on healing the darker shadow parts of you that cause your ego to be what's at the forefront, that causes your ego to be what is the strongest part of you, that's not able to really humble itself in the right kind of ways, even if that humility is acknowledging that you are stronger and more powerful than you're willing to admit. And when we're able to do that, then we're able to step up into this new level of awareness around how powerful we are and what we're capable of doing in our lives. But it really is this Temperance card that comes after the fact that goes, okay, and so here's where you're really gonna learn how to take what you've learned in that Scorpio journey and do magic with it. You know, do the self-alchemy so that you're able to step more powerfully into your physical experience, because so much of the work of Scorpio is done internally. And this is a turn towards the external, towards saying, okay, the inner changes that you've made, we're now going to do the magic required to allow them to be external changes. And it's usually not as easy as you think it is. And that's why Temperance is followed by the Devil card, which is Capricorn, which is Saturn, to test you and make sure that who you think you've become as a result of all your transformation is actually able to handle the weight of your habits, of what seduces you in the world, of how we tend to manipulate ourselves by saying that certain things are okay and are going to support this path when maybe they really aren't, or when we want to convince ourselves that we're working on our growth when really what we're doing is we're kind of wasting our time, or we're just staying where things are safe and comfortable because we are still a little bit afraid, because we haven't really gone and done that scorpionic work that we need to do. These cards are kind of this cycle of saying, like, if you really, really want the growth, if you really, really want the change, and you really want to live the life that you're capable of living, you have to do this work. So again, what I have here is 3 different versions of the same card. I did choose to go with the traditional Rider-Waite Smith card this time, which I kind of tend to avoid a lot because I don't resonate so much with the imagery, but in this case, I do think it's important to go with the traditional card because the imagery is so powerful. And I think the first thing that I want to point out about the Temperance card is actually what we see in the background, which is this pathway leading up towards the rising or setting sun through the mountains. And this really is defined as like our path in life, our choice to choose to walk the higher path or the illuminated path. And by that, I don't mean the more right path or the more correct path. What I mean is the path of truth, the path of consciousness, the path of being able to look at things as they are, the path of personal responsibility that understands how to live your life in a powerful way where you can accept things as they are and then make your decisions using your power to be able to change or transform them into what you would like them to be. And that, of course, includes ourselves. So there's this reference to when we are choosing to follow the illuminated path, Temperance comes along as very much a helper to us to remind us what it takes to stay on that path. And if we come to this card over here, this is the Crystal Visions Tarot, again, by Jennifer Glasso. We have a little bit more of a surface level expression of the card. It's really beautiful though, because we have these butterflies, which are always representing transformation. And she is creating the balance between fire and water in the cups that she's holding, which is creating a rainbow. So, right, there's this emphasis to the play on fire and water, creating a rainbow, the sun, piercing through a storm to create this beautiful display of color, reminding us that when we can have the right kind of balance in life, we're able to create because we stay in a state of balance, because we stay in a state of equilibrium. So it's, a little bit more surface level here, just saying, balance is important, find the balance in the situation, and you'll be able to stay on the pathway of peace. Now, if we move over here to the Druid Craft book, again, the Druid Craft deck, which is one of my favorites. This gets a little bit more intense, and really what we're starting to see here is just the power of alchemy and kind of the essence of personal magic, personal power. Our ability to combine different parts of ourselves in just the right way in order to create longevity for ourselves, to create success. And that's what so much of Sagittarius is about, is taking everything that you've learned up to this point about yourself, about life, about other people and relationships, and then really being able to start making powerful moves and powerful choices that help you to take who you are and the life that you're living to the next level. This is why Sagittarius has such a strong association with travel, with adventure, with religion, with belief systems and philosophy. This is where we really are starting to pull back and get this much higher perspective and scope on life, what it means, why we're doing it, and what it is that we want to do to contribute to the evolution of the human heart, the human consciousness, and just the whole human story. So when this card is coming up in a reading, it's really good to ask yourself a couple of questions. And number one is, are you taking responsibility for your elements? And by that we mean, are you taking responsibility for your thoughts? Are you taking responsibility for what's going on in your emotions? Are you taking care of your body? Because so frequently the most simple solutions to why we're not making the progress that we want to, or why we're staying stuck in situations, is because we're simply not doing what we know that we should. And, we're giving into the tiredness, we're giving into the feelings, we're giving into the anxiety, and we're not really taking control and forcing ourselves oftentimes to just make the changes that we need to make, or choosing not to stay, in an emotional state when we could make a different choice and bring a little bit more balance to move us forward on whatever it is that we're trying to do. For example, if you're going through a breakup, you can sit in your room and listen to sad songs for a while to deal with the grief. But if you choose to do this to an excess, then you're consciously choosing to stay in the energy of heartbreak instead of introducing new energies into your life, like going out and doing some self-care rituals and just taking care of yourself and giving yourself some opportunities that remind you that life is going to go on, you're going to meet somebody new, and so on. So we can take all of this deeper if you watch my videos on the 3 supportive cards of Sagittarius and Temperance, which are the 8, the 9, and the 10 of Wands, which is going to help to bring this to more of a ground level, practical expression of where you would see these lessons, the grounding experiences of temperance coming up for you in everyday life, so that you have the opportunity to identify them, go, oh, okay, I see, these are Sagittarian lessons. A lot of it just has to do with those breaking points, those edges that we have inside of us where we usually give up, where we don't move forward because we sabotage ourselves. It's about our ability to create, to get past the obstacles. Just like these waves breaking here, if I want to go swimming out in that water, I have to know how to get past those waves. I have to know to get in at just the right time, right? And this takes paying attention, it takes patience, it takes experience, and it takes making mistakes sometimes and maybe getting hurt. But that's okay, because life is all about experience, and Sagittarius is definitely about the experience.